I'll repeat my sentence. I said this year is going fast. Where is the time going? I have actually been flat out. I've just made myself a hot chocolate, and that's because I haven't had dinner. Had a late lunch, and it was like just food is not sitting right for me, just personally. Venus and Pisces probably. Um, and on top of that, yeah, just Mars energy and this Aries energy with the North Node. Everything feels like we're going like a bat out of hell. So we've got some really key themes, which I went down the rabbit hole with the members today, which technically for you guys it was yesterday morning because of the time changes. Okay. And we dive deep into the eclipses 2025 energy. So the video is still there. It is a super chat, but however, I always give an energy update at the beginning of it, which I'm trying to get as organized as possible so I can start bringing energy and astrology back to the channel. And I have started on a post that will be hosted via the website. I'll share the link via YouTube so that should you wish to read it, it's going to be based on predictions, previous eclipses, the history of the eclipses, what the potentials are for these, and what areas really, especially when you're looking at eclipses, you can see where, you know, the location of that path is going. Inadvertently, we're all directly impacted by it, but key areas and locations can be more impacted than others. And they do hold a signature. So I go further into that via the website. If time permits, I will do a video and I'll cover all signs. But the key areas that you would want to be, both within your twin flame path especially, as well as individually, you would need to look for key points, Libra, Aries, and Pisces at this point in time. So the Pisces energy, generally when we're having the energy of Pisces, we are less inclined to make decisions even though that pressure point's going to be there. The frustration more than likely will already be here, but more so in April around those eclipses. And, you know, those things, if we're aware of it, we're not going to take it personal. It doesn't mean to say we're going to go, hey, this is bloody great. But it can be that we know the context of the reason why it's happening. You know, and I always find pressure points create diamonds. Collectively, it can be very different, but then personally, we're going to have our own individual experiences. So they can directly help you. The two axis points, I would say, from a chakra point of view, is going to be heart chakra with Libra. It can be your Venus energies as well. So it can be, I would pick base chakra. Feminine cycles can also be heavier. Emotions can be more intense. And generally speaking, at eclipses, especially within your aura and your ascension process, you want to do guided meditation prior to the eclipse, and the signature of it's already coming through. So we already will be able to see themes in the axis of Libra occurring. We're going to start already seeing themes of the Aries eclipse, because you can pick up on them easy a month to 2 months before, but it's getting heavier as we kind of move in. So the two are sort of working in tangent. There could be, and I remember using this in one of the videos, which will come to the public soon. All the twin flame videos I do pre-release to the members. They get the next set, so they're already getting, I believe, the April editions. They're correct. Yeah, you've got the April editions. You got them yesterday. And so if you're wanting to see those, you can come through and join a YouTube membership, as well as super chats and energy updates. And I chime in and directly have a chat to them in a coaching setting that can actually give a little bit more support through this journey, because it can feel quite distorted, lonely. And I do try and give you tips that I've used in my path that have gained me momentum, taught me some things. Obviously, you know, I wasn't perfect. It's not like, you know, I never use the term made it, because I do believe we're constantly on an ascension path. And we, even those of us that are in union, we still have impacts. So it's not that, what would I say? It's different. Yeah, it's definitely different, but you still do get changes and hits. So I've picked a ruin cast. We're still having a chat. So if time permits, I will attempt to come through and give an energy update. This also, from your twin flame path axis, can be a time where karmic cycle is going to be coming to an end. There can be a lot of separations, divorces, away from marriages, contracts, partnerships that we directly spiritually feel aren't in alignment with us, so that we can move on to our highest path possible. And, you know, examples of that in life can be where we directly feel very firm that that's the direction we're going and that's the only way. And, you know, the way I described it in the members was almost subconsciously, if you've been taught how to build a house, you know, what you've been taught or what you know in your wisdom from reading text or seeing other people doing it is okay. And it's just a basic example. It doesn't mean it's correct. It could be that we put the footing down first. You know, we might have the plumbing in, the piping in, and then there could be the wall. So there's a system and a method. And so sometimes from a 3D point of view, when we're having a personal experience, we're very fixed on that. And so especially if we can't see doors opening to move through, and there's only that one fixed belief there because of our personal experiences, 9 times out of 10, you know, rejection is universe's protection. It's almost like there can be a tower that at the time you may feel, gee, you know, why did that have to happen? But it also can open doors. So, and it can show different ways we can do it, which is the innovation. So, you know, it's not so much we trust the process, it's that things sometimes are predetermined to occur. Sometimes we can actually make circumstances go a little bit longer than necessary, and that can also be in karmic cycles as well. So I have pulled the Ruin cast. I'll go into that in a moment. I'm going to pull the cards and I'll have a chat to all of you guys. So yes, feminines, you are going to find this transit, although a lot of astrologers are talking about this being a more positive eclipse, which, yes, it can be. When we are dealing with a South Node eclipse, especially in your twin flame path, 9 times out of 10, you'll hear people saying to you, well, it's leaving. It's a full moon, you know, it's leaving. It's a love zone. It's marriages, contracts, partnerships. Can you have shadow work? That comes up 100%. Can you have blasts from the past coming through? 100%. Can you also return to that circumstance? Yes, but it's going to be different. And, you know, because the South Node is requiring it to be different. And also we are different. As we move forward, we're evolving because the North Node is triggering that change. So inadvertently, yes, it's going to be different regardless. So you're going to get a different outcome. Those that are in karmic relationships that feel that they've done such, it would link to last year and beyond. We're revisiting that portal. And we're looking at the more assertive side. It's you versus other people, and it's how can we come to this common ground? The difficulty will probably come in April because we do have oppositions. We also have a conjunction to Chiron, the wounded healer. So spiritually, you may find, like, how do I do that? What is the solution? Mercury's also going to be retrograde in the house of Aries, which again, can be that we can be going over a little bit of old ground post-eclipse, but as we move direct, we'll find a more successful path to be able to address those things. So let's hold on to our hats. I always did see, although astrologers will mention April being the hot spot, I personally believe March through to, I would say, May, and then September, July, August, September. Yeah, July, August, September. But we're also having the Ingress. So this always was going to be an intense year. Intense, busy. This portal at this point in time, especially from last month to now, is asking us to revisit how we can create balance both in our bodies, our diet. You know, it could be, hey, we're feeling really run down. A circumstance we're currently dealing with. How do we get that into balance so we can have that optimistic vibe, have that balance in our life? And so yes, if you are feeling overwhelmed, I did a bit of coaching in the members, and my suggestion would be, especially if you feel you have a taller roll full of problems and you just don't know which one to get to, and all of them are, you know, it's almost like the last needle on the haystack. My advice would be writing down a list and then stepping back, grabbing a drink, get a hot chocolate, you know, because we like to pacify those things, calm the farm, and then come back to that list and go, now, let me be brutally honest with this list. What is the utmost of importance that I need to address right now? A number at 1 to 5. And I can guarantee you the list has reduced, and the other things gradually, because you've acknowledged them, you can return to them after you've achieved the top 5. Then you can go back to them, and it's going to take the pressure off you because you're feeling you're taking control. So that can be one way you can actually deal with these things. The other reason that's going to come up is because we do have transits occurring this month in Pisces. Pisces, being the 12th house, will make us get up on our head. It can also make us almost want to be the Virgo energy of needing to have the detail, very apprehensive and unsure. Having lack of sleep, it's almost like you might try to go to sleep. You could be having deep dream states, psychic attacks, very deep dreams. Hi, Sweet. So yes, those things are possible. This is a great time prior to the eclipse to actually clear your homes. No meditation during the eclipse. Fluid. Allow the upgrades, the changes, the transformations, the emotions, whatever occurs to occur. Near the eclipse is also, especially for feminines, be cautious of your safety, because it is, although Libra is, a feminine sign, it's actually masculine in nature. So again, I would say for feminines, being cautious with your safety. And more so, you may find that the next eclipse is a little bit more aggressive than the first, okay? What's the other thing I can say? Heart chakra and co-creativity. So definitely your health, definitely your wellness. So it can be all of a sudden you're deciding, look, I really need to ditch this habit. I really need to start looking after myself. You could be going off certain foods and saying, look, I'm eliminating sugar. So that can be a theme that's coming up. You could be really looking at connections in a different way. You also could be looking at your friendship zones in a different way and your contracts. So it can be work situations. As we transition to the next eclipse, it can link to masculine energies. And masculines also are going through this transit with difficulty with ascension. Pisces can be putting a little bit of a spanner in the works, but it is here for a reason, and it is going to transform it. This also can be a time where they're spiritually coming to terms with and making peace with the fact, and even with my channel messages, my super chats, and my private readings, I am directly noticing a shift with the attitudes of divine masculines towards karmic situations that did occur in their life and what their opinions of them are. So I'm definitely seeing a radical shift happening there. And it does seem to be that these individuals are sort of now sensing the sense of, well, where do I come into this picture? Yes, I would like to help, everyone. Potentially they might have been enabling a situation or looking at a person as a victim or doing some shadow work. So that not necessarily is a bad thing, because now they're kind of looking at it from their personal spiritual point of view. And it can be where they're directly starting to stick up for themselves a lot more and coming back to their personal sense of identity. But we'll get into that in the reading, okay? Now, I'll pick masculines cards. I've got the Ruin cast. We'll see what we're doing. I mean, at this point, I'm streaming from Australia. It's 9:10 p.m. I must love you guys. 9:10 p.m. So if you're visiting, tell me where you're you're watching from. And I'd love to say a hello. Hello from Australia. Feminines. Clarifiers are ready to go. I tell you, I desiccated this office this evening. Giggle knows why. She probably had a good laugh about it. But we have a sense of humour that way. Hi, Jan. How you doing, sweet? How many Libras do we have in the house? Florida. No wonder you're always shiny and beautiful. I tell you, here in Australia, it has been so humid. I've literally said, look, I want to pay for a sauna, but not that kind. Well, that's good to hear, Chris. I'm traveling for business. Yes, Libra energies are having big changes. Can be personal appearance. It could be nutrition and diet. We're gonna be trying to look after our health. Health is going to improve transit wise. Okay. Yes, we have been through the ringer over the last few years. It is going to get better. That part of it anyway. Romance also can be shifting for those that are Libra and Aries. Big changes. And changes in the way you do things. This also can be career. If it doesn't land now and you just decide to tweak a situation, it'll come back again September, October. There'll be another portal. But if you need to know more, feel free to book a private reading with me. Okay, so the ruin cards we have, I did show you before. Let's get into it. What does it mean? So I'm reading from the book in case you want to know who the individual is that provides these ruin cards. Okay, and here's the picture. Okay, funny enough. Oh, okay, what's it linking to? Tree, juniper, herbs, chamomile, bird, eagle. I have been getting a lot of bird totems. I actually had this freaky situation the other night. Had been doing a lot of gardening, especially when I am channeling the collective. I do tend to get totems coming through for the twin flame path. Generally speaking, especially from a superstition point of view, there are old wives' tales connected to owls. And it's like if they come to your back door, it's bad news. If they come to your front, it's good. Okay. But it also is very psychic in nature. So I was out in the garden. It wasn't at the front. It wasn't at the back. It was at the side. So it was definitely a spiritual message. And it is to do with the cult wisdom. It's, it can be very intuitive. It's very wise. It can be a maturing that we're spiritually going through. But Google our totem and you individually will get your own synchronistic message that is coming to us. Okay, animal lion, constellation Leo, planet sun, which what are we having? We're having an eclipse. Day Sunday, color yellow, element fire. Now, I will mention before I go further, the two zodiacs that may struggle during all eclipses, regardless of the zodiac it's in, always those two in the kind of vibe will be, which will be Libra and Aries. The others of you can be Sun and Moon, which is Cancer and Leo. Okay, so you guys tend to feel that vibration higher. Cancers may handle it because of the intuitive nature of it, but it could shine light on things that could quite trigger them. On the opposite spectrum of things, for those of you that are Leo, you may find from a spiritual point of view, you can get control tendencies can come up, nervous energy, almost frustration because you don't know what to do. So I would say give it a window of 3 days in and 3 days out. But most likely the highest point will be the day of the eclipse. So don't make any rash decisions. Be aware of it. Try to not take it personal. Do things that can ground you and try to avoid things that are going to agitate you. So it's about making sure that you're integrating, you're not going to extremes with caffeine or pacifiers, and your body and your chakra will probably cope with it a lot better. But having that awareness is going to aid you. Okay, so it is basing around the eclipse. Now, where currently do we have? Okay, we have the Sun in Pisces again. Yes, psychic attacks. So psychic attacks are possible because it is the 12th house. Transcending over, fair of situations, success, vitality, good fortune, popularity. Now, is it in the upright? Yeah, we'll see. Can't remember now. The higher self, the spiritual enlightenment, divine blessings, reverse blindness and gullibility. Well, it kind of makes sense. The reason why I didn't know is because during the eclipse, you'll feel that way. Okay. So don't get triggered during the eclipse, even though there are positive aspects for the first one, the next one, a little bit less so, a lot more less so. But inadvertently, it's going to be new chapters for all of us spiritually and personally, which is positive. Okay, it is an entirely positive ruin cast. Now, what was the reference I made previously? To do with the fact that we have a logic and a notion, and that started at the beginning of the video and was talking about how do you build a house. Our logic can tell us, well, we put the footings down, we do X, Y, and Z. You know, we might have seen a video, might have seen a person build a house, and it's an analogy for how we may deal with this eclipse. Then, because we can't find a new path, a new door, and that is the only way, therefore there's limitations. When a tower occurs, sometimes it can open doors and show us a new way. It could provide the tools that we needed. It could be the products or you get my gist. So this is regardless of you feeling maybe blind or gullible during the situation and unsure and apprehensive. It is a positive ruin cast relating A to your twin flame path and B to circumstances that are happening between now and next month with this eclipse. When drawn on its own, which it is an indicator of present conditions. It confirms that all is well, or should be. The sun shines on the quadrant's doings. If in the company of others, more difficult, well, it's not with other ruin cast. Okay. When dazzled by our own prospects or desires, we can be blind to the factors of our lives. When entering even a normal lit room from a bright outdoors, it can appear darker to us. It's really referencing an eclipse. It's really friggin' spooky. In such circumstances, we should pause and allow our vision to readjust rather than risk stumbling. So don't make any rash decisions. We also could shoot our mouth off because the shadow sign is Aries. So if we're getting frustrated with our twin flame path with a contract or a partnership, there is a possibility you could be ready to get a pay rise and you lose your crap. And it's like, so we need to find the harmony. We need to step back. We need to view the painting. We need to gather all information before making decisions. And P.S. next month, Mercury will be in shadow, you know, having the eclipse. So it's asking us to try and be patient. Now, other people that don't know won't be. Keep that in mind while you're dealing with it. Now, the first crowning energy you got, burdens. What are we dropping? It is a burden. Sometimes we are all in masculine or feminine energy. The joint connection at the moment is telling you that both parties here are going through it. Both parties have something that they're carrying, some drama they're carrying. And sometimes it's like, you know, a lifeboat's going down and you're wanting the other person to rescue you. And some of you might be offended by this, but this is the message I'm getting. So is it natural for us to be offended in circumstances? 100%. I'm not denying that. But sometimes we're not seeing something that is occurring and what the bugbear is and what the holdup is. And we could be fretting because of an attachment we have. So this is the crowning energy that's come through. But whatever this is, this could even be both of you looking in and going, how do we handle this? How do we look at this circumstance? How do we bring this ship around so both of us can connect in this context? You know, it used to be fun, but we grow and then we realize there's the seriousness of certain situations. Look, there could be for some of you, there could be a habit this person has. There could be a pattern. It could be using pacifiers, drinking. It could be worse habits than that. But separately, I'm getting the message that this used to be fun. We used to go to extremes. I would do anything for you. This used to be fun. It's in the past. That doesn't mean it's not. Remember, the Libra eclipse is about bringing things back from the past. That can be the fun. That can be the happiness. It can be the, you know, the things you used to like doing together. Now, in the heart of hearts, both of you were very, you know, it's almost like we dream to have a Mercury retrograde. We dream to have a Venus retrograde. It gets there and then we're apprehensive. But is this actually a good time? Come on, how many people are feeling that, especially those of you that understand astrology? Why do we look at it that way? It's because we directly feel it means there's a portal of an opportunity. But when it comes, we get fretful, right? We get fretful. We're like, yeah, but is there an assurity? Is there an assurity? Okay, you asked, both parties here are being put in the hot seat to take a leap of faith. Okay, to take a leap of faith and jump in the deep end. There's infinite ways this can go. But do you dare to dream? Do you dare to jump in the deep end? Okay, there could be some olive leaf that's being handed. It feels as though this is a possibility. Some of you may get communication. Some of you could see a changed attitude. You could see a circumstance. You might think it's very small. That temporarily could trigger you, and it can be because you've got burdens going on in your own personal life that aren't feeling so great. Feminines, it could be our health. It could be stress levels. It could be finances. It could be a lot of things. And then the twin flame path on top of it. Masculines are, it appears to be, there is going to be a gesture of some description, a more playful approach maybe that this person is going to take. And it could also require us to have a lighter approach to it, a more playful, but also, I can't say a white flag. And it doesn't mean to say if there's been something really horrible that's happened that you're not within your right to ask questions. Never get scared of that. If they don't answer, it's okay. Keep asking those questions as they return, which they will. You keep asking those questions. It's not for closure. It's to create safety within the connection so both people can be equally open and honest so that you can get to a space that you're not going to go into run a chaser mode. There is something that is coming to an end. I want to pull a clarifier. What are they trying to tell us there? I don't know why I just heard the Katy Perry song. It's never really over. Okay, what is this situation? Yes, sometimes it can be near-death experiences. We do have an awakening. It can be through a circumstance. There might have also been a dream that you had. Again, there's some, just as you thought it was over, it's like it's coming back. Divine Feminine also is showing up here basically saying, look, what I'm requiring, you're not necessarily requiring it to be perfect, but you do require consistency, okay? It's like, you know, you feel if you see the signs, you'll be open to it, providing you can see a sense of movement and transformation. Okay, a changed approach. I definitely see a changed approach. I also feel for some, especially those of you that weren't in contact with them, you might have been thinking this was, you know, to do with you and they've dropped off the face of the planet. Are they even here? But they're making reference to potentially a passing of a relative. Yeah. Now, that could coincide with something that had already happened, or an anniversary, or it is most recent. This also could be an experience that they had, i.e. near-death experience. Wake-up call of some description. There is, okay, there's something that is coming to an end. Your hopes are going to return due to this. Okay. Oh, Divine Feminine, they're saying be careful what you ask for. I know, I've been there. Some of you could be thinking, look, where is the playfulness? Could the playfulness come back? You know, could it be a text? Could it be an email? Could it be the person turning up? Could it be flirtation or a kiss? Or something further? They're making reference to two's company, three's a crowd. You could have taken this, changed in energy, something like, you know, you could be taking it personal. There is a gift here, though. There's a gift. It's almost like they actually, they look at you higher. They don't want to give you crumbs. But you're going to be happy with the outcome. That's what they're saying. Okay, let's look at yours and I'll look at masculines. Whenever I'm getting the moon card, any moon card, I'm feeling a reference point of the eclipse. Now, the eclipse in Libra, you could be feeling everything is going stagnant. Hey, sweet. Now, it does feel as though something to do with this moon can bring emotions up. It's very natural like that this week is coming through in the read to do with the way you're feeling, the way that you're seeing things. But I think that's going to shift. There also can be situations happening around family and tribe. This could be a contract with a house. This could be circumstances you're going through. But personally, I'm feeling if you've had a lot going on to do with your family, or you've been thinking about a situation surrounding, a tribe of any description, I'm getting the eclipse. They're making reference to the eclipse. They're asking you to be ready to be in awareness of it. Yes, emotions can be high. You could be thinking negatively. You could be taking these things personal. Now, the other things that have gone on in your twin flame path, I'm not saying don't take personal, but this is something that's just coming up again, okay? I don't know what where are my chakra cards? I don't need the chakra, I can tell you. Okay, there appears to be those of you that are like sort of feeling that you're needing to articulate something, but you're not wanting to maybe say something in a certain way. You're not wanting to alter the way they're perceiving something. For those of you that are in communication, this even can be for those of you that aren't. Especially when we're getting to that weighing of the scales of who was right, who was wrong. Do I contact? Is it correct to contact? Follow your instincts. If it's a stock standard text message or an email of some description, it's very neutral. It's more the white flag. You're not saying, hey, I'll completely forgive you or anything to that degree, but you're actually, placing a flag out there of some description. It's totally up to them if they contact, but detach from it and let go. But it feels that there is going to be a change for the better. There also is, for some of you, you're kind of thinking, okay, do I move forward in my path? Do I entertain another individual? It feels like there potentially could be a spiritual test. This could be with another individual, but again, I am picking it's another individual from the past. There is a new beginning here, but in your opinion, you're like, sort of to a degree, you want everything to move very quickly, but if it does start quickly, I can be brutally honest with you, you're going to panic. Okay, so yes, there's a frustration. Yes, you are wanting things to move faster. Just more consistent, I would say. But there's a feeling almost internally, it's like, can we just get there already? Are we going to get there? But because you have had trauma, because there has been separations and things to that degree, 9 times out of 10, what you'll find is if it is going too fast, once you do reconnect, you may feel you're on a roller coaster ride and it doesn't feel fun. So just be really careful what you wish for. Once universe feels you're spiritually ready for that, you throw it in the deep end. Ask True Heart. She'll tell you we're both being there. Yeah, it's great. And we thought separation was bad. We were like, yeah, right. Okay, they're saying, look, I just keep getting the reference of be careful what you ask for. Because whatever you think the status is going to be, it's going to be very different. And spiritually, I can see something's going to be moving very quickly, quicker than you think. You may not be able to hold on to your heart. You do know this person. You will know, especially if you're, how do I put it? Even though we can tell ourselves, regardless of what's happened, that we don't know the person, we do subconsciously deep down. As long as we remove the ego enough to be honest with ourselves about what our intuition is sensing, you're going to be able to navigate that situation fine. You are, however, some of you are feeling, well, I just don't want to be that fling. I don't want to be this person where they come in, they come out. Is that the only way they're looking at me? And I don't feel that is the way they're looking at you. I feel that's a feeling that's coming up because of the eclipse in Libra. Yep, they're taking you back to the reference point of the rune cast, which is to say it is going to be a positive outcome. Somebody is coming out. That interesting. I have a question. How many of you are resenting the separation stage and saying to yourself, and this came up with a client the other day, it was something quite profound, and I can say I've actually been there myself, and it wasn't so much I necessarily knew it. I was thinking it subconsciously. And those of you that followed me all the way back from 2016 and beyond in my twin flame path, you know, because I did say, hey, you know, on my separation, the only energy I really had in my life at one point through the separation was a cat. Okay, it was my kitty cat. And I remember my mother calling me, and I promised myself for 1 year I would not seek outside myself for anything. I put myself in the naughty corner. If it was for self-esteem, you know, I started removing my makeup. I wouldn't wear makeup. And I was doing all that internal work, and each day, every day. You know, if I was sad, I'd have to hug myself. And I'd have to work on that energy. How many of you have felt, oh gosh, the time frame I'm waiting, I'm going, I know this is really morbid, it's a morbid statement, but it was something that came up in a group session with also some clients. And it was to do with the fact that in the path, you know, while we're waiting, and it's not necessarily we're waiting, I'm just going to be perfect. And you guys know you're not. You're processing, you have feelings, you accept that. But you're also living your life. So you're not bad people. Don't think you're bad people. Have you got to a stage you have said to yourself, if I don't get my crap together, I'm going to die alone? How many have said that? Okay, because this, you know, Pisces is to do with death. It's the 12th house, you know, and subconsciously we can be feeling, God, you know, paint dries, and I've watched it, you know, dry faster than this. Oh, bless ya. Oh, dear. Well, I did say those blasts from the past. So how many hands do we have that have said, I don't want to die alone? You know, I had this revelation, and it was, you know, I've done a lot of integration over the years, so especially because my North Node Scorpio, you know, it's morbid. It's like, you know, you can't have an attachment. You lose everything. Fucking North Node and Scorpio. Okay, so down the rabbit hole through the separation, I had that exact statement. And, you know, my daughter had moved out, Twin and I had broken up. I wasn't really communicating a lot with my family, and I was alone. I was in YouTube land, right? And I was like, one day I went, you know what? I need to come to terms with any relationship I've had in my life. I need to be happy and not be scared anymore. I need to create my Zen space. I don't want to be the runner. I don't want to be the chaser. And what have I got to lose here? This could take me my whole life, but if I don't get to the bottom of it, I'm going to be bloody running forever. So I remember that coming up, and I remember saying to myself, okay, if we were to weigh the scales and we were to, for instance, because a lot of times when we are runner chaser mode, we can get to a stage that we want a surety, and it's a little bit like the get out of jail card. It's like, okay, well, you got to put up a bond, man. You know, I need to know that you're going to come in and there's no chance that you can ever hurt me. And that is absolutely impossible. Hear me out. Don't get angry. I'm here to help, okay? Because I went through this myself and I thought about it. There is, when you are in alignment, you know, unless you're bloody Bonnie and Clyde, and Twin and I have talked about this, and I came to terms with this before we reconciled. I was like, I'm not going to seek outside myself. My mother called me and she goes, how are you doing, Yildiz? And I went, look, I don't hear from anyone. I'm doing some shadow work. I'm thinking about it. And for goodness sakes, you know, if something had happened to me, the cat could have eaten me and you wouldn't have even known. Nobody would know. And I cried that week, and I was like, but you know, the healthy situation was, I thought to myself, if I can't be comfortable with me, I I'm going to have ins and outs of connections. I could have a reconciliation. It may work, it may not. And I was like, but down to the grit, if I can't love me and I have to live with me for the rest of my life and I'm scared of this and I have to live with that, maybe I better come to terms with that. And so it was, somebody in my circle said to me, I don't want to be alone. And we all are going to be one day. But when we can fall in love with our lives and say to ourselves, who actually am I? I love painting. I love gardening. I don't need much. Do I need friends? Yes, but no. Because they will come into my life as I transition through, and some will be there, some will not, but I still have to live with myself for the rest of my life. So it's interesting that this is coming up because again, we're looking at the eclipse in Libra, the eclipse in Aries. We're fighting for something. Sometimes we're over exacerbated in our own personal masculine energy, feeling we've got to do all the work, feeling we've got to get in there. And I kind of have this feeling, especially spiritually, it's coming up as like, good grief, am I going to die alone? Am I going to be alone? And no, not while you're open to it, right? But B, if you were given then the golden pass to have your reconciliation with the love of your life, whoever that may be, twin flame or other, let's just give that as an analogy. If you couldn't have a surety of what that time frame is, which technically none of us have, would you then say you were given 2 years with this person, it was the most fantastic years of your life, would you take it or would you leave it if you had the end date? Show of hands. Would you take it and hold those memories for the rest of your life? Or would you say, yeah, I just want to avoid another pain body experience? And so what happens when we avoid the pain body experience is we do die alone because we are protecting ourselves. So what we fear, we co-create. So by facing our shadow, what it's going to support is, well, I don't want to push people out of my life. I want to bring people into my life. I want to be grateful, which ironically enough, I'm going to a funeral tomorrow. I also had my auntie pass away this month. So it's about remembering those things. It's about looking at those things and going, no, that wasn't a waste, but I will show up for that. And I will be on that, it's like Beyonce EXO, getting on that ride, going on that, going on that ride. Where will it take me? How will it feel? I can guarantee you will have the good, the bad, and the ugly. Okay? We all will. Can you feel like, and ask true heart, when you're risking things for love, you are going to jump in the deep end. You're going to, a bit like going over a hill. You're going to be like, it's going to feel that way. We're going to have a look at the masculine now. Okay. Okay. So we're not doing this for nothing. But all the work you're doing on your own is to set you up for your whole life, regardless of how long that is. It's not for nothing. Now, let's look at the masculine's energy. So feminines, if that was a nagging cycle, I'm sorry. I hope it aided in some shape or form with a perspective and, to help you feel that you're not alone. I was there too, and I still visit that. Twin and I joke about that what are we going to be? Bonnie and Clyde, there's no guarantee. Told them I'll haunt them. Anywho, that is destiny of what is to be is to be. However, let's look at the masculines. Bring you over here. Okay, those that are in a karmic relationship, we have the separation card. Also, they are spiritually thinking about the separation and how it's directly impacting you. So it's weighing heavy on their mind. It's also coming up during the eclipse, which is signifying where they spiritually feel out of alignment. They're trying to move back into it. Yeah, all these unresolved feelings from the past coming up. They're trying to have the strength. Are they scared of being alone? Probably similar to what we are, right? They're human beings. We're not perfect, but there is a feeling, especially like I said, and I mentioned this before, those in a karmic relationship are coming to terms with the past, right? Be it they are together or not. This is the overarching energy this week. Thinking about separations. It's heavy on the heart. I do feel there's, again, they're looking at where they want to be versus where they are. They're looking at how impacts did, affect them within relationships, Libra. And there was guilt. I don't know why I get this card's you, Divine Feminine. They are having an ideal. There could have been a portal and a point where they thought maybe things could get better. However, there could be a circumstance where it's been weighing, again, heavy on their heart in the separation with you, and they're sort of like there's been slight hopes and slight feelings, and they've been meditating upon it because there's unfinished business between the two of you. And what they do want, they just want to come home. Okay? They're just really wanting to come home and to feel that they can be in a place with somebody that understands them, somebody that they've had a lot of history with. Yeah, and somebody they don't have to feel is going to abandon them if a flaw or a shadow. And it doesn't mean to say, like, when everything is said and done, I think, especially in my path, anything terrible I was afraid of, it all happened. And so by the time we came to that reconciliation part, it's like, well, what do I have to worry about? Those were the things I was worried about, and they already happened. So I was like, it was like we bared our souls. We were back to, the purification of the soul and being very honest and earnest. I'm getting here that this person is not coming with negative intents. We have the enemy card in reverse. So they're not coming with negative intents. They do see the value. And that is life. We need the art of appreciation, which generally comes from losing something that we value. And so some of them are considering actually leaving even finances behind to liberate themselves, especially if that's been a circumstance. Libra can be to do with wealth. Aries is to do with them empowering themselves or sticking up for themselves and putting their feet down. And we're doing that as well. Yeah, look at this, the anger card. Between the Libra axis and the Aries axis, this is what's being shown is they're moving towards their victory. But it's not we don't want drama. We can't avoid drama. We're in the real world. We're a spirit having a humanistic experience. We've got both. What they could be moving into, especially for those, especially if you have the question, oh my gosh, is there a possibility on this occasion that it's not gonna break through? Generally speaking, if you have those kind of points, right? I've even noticed with Venus retrogrades, even a month later, if the person's in denial, all they get is more drama, and inevitably they reach that very same conclusion that they reached but hadn't spoken into the ethers. Okay, what does feminine need to know? Let's pull these up. I'll pull 3 cards. I'll answer some of your questions and read some of the things. I think we all will, Dal, especially with the transits. But yeah, shifts, definitely shifts. At the moment, the heavy-hitting energy, more than likely cosmic journey, is because of the placement of Pisces, because it is your Venus house, technically from your zodiac sign, at a collective level, not I wouldn't say your birth chart one, but from a collective energy. It's there. So it's, it's fatiguing. It could be making the romantic sector for you more emotional. It's almost like looking at the dreams. I can literally say, for the, it has been, this year has been an interesting one. Pisces for me has been impacting my wellness. But literally this month, drop of a hat, crying. What zodiac are you, Chris? Oh, boy. Some of you could be having a dream about the karmic. It's actually a very positive sign. They're asking you to navigate this circumstance very carefully. You're wanting to get to the devil in the detail. There's many of you that, again, a surety keeps coming up. You're wanting a surety. It could be in a question. It could be in a response. But you need to take quite a tactical approach. I can't say gauge the time. I would say ask what you need to ask. I do think there's communication coming in. There's also a circumstance where if you feel, especially if there is a karmic, what I'm seeing here, we've got the devil card and we've got the sweetheart. What's been shown to me psychically is some of you might be thinking that they can't handle the karmic. They're confirming that, yes, they can. I don't know why they're giving me the reference point that they can beat them at their own game, but that's the reference point that they're making. Okay? Any questions before I love you and leave you? Just be prepared. I hope this gave you some context, some help. There can be separations coming. There can be reconciliations on their way. That isn't the only portal, okay? Between now and April is not the only portal, but definitely we're going to see shifts happening. But yeah, it feels like, look, usually if you start getting them entering the dream state, the karmics, it's actually really positive because they're like the only one that I can stop is if they're out the way, divine feminine, then there won't be an issue. And trust me, divine feminine feels the same when they're thinking of a karmic, but it's not true because as we own our powers, there's none of that. So the true solution is us, not the karmic. The karmic technically is a permission-based situation. So once we realize that we have faith in ourselves because we have moved away from a karmic cycle and we can actually tackle that devil energy theoretically, then also we will look at them as a kind of a twin that if we can, they can. And anytime we tell ourselves, oh, they can't or they won't due to circumstances, tradition, ethics, morals, keep saying to yourself, well, I did, so yes, they can. But psychically, they'll come into your dream state because they're having a revelation that they can't break it. Losing all the highs and the lows. Yeah. You dreamt of her last week, Cosmic Jenny. Yes, she was coming through in your read. Did you listen to your read? Yeah. It's nothing that can't be handled, but yeah, it might be, messy for them. Anyway, thank you for coming. I'd love it if you comment once the video is uploaded. Like, share, subscribe. If you do want to come back, we may be doing some other videos during the week. I'll see how we transition. Please look after yourself. I hope some of the advice inside this video supports you through these transits, gives you a little bit of hope and some techniques that you can use. And if you do need a personal booking, you can go to the information box directly below. Now, if you can't afford a private reading, YouTube membership also offers a cheaper version, which we have the super chats in there. We also have Discord where I chime in daily and give you some tips and support and transit updates. Thanks, sweet. And that is another way that maybe you can get that support through these eclipses in your twin flame path or more. I will love you and leave you. Take care, and I hope to see you soon.